Okay, so since doing the Self-Care Sunday read, I was like, I think, it's been a while since I've done a shadow reading. So let's have a look at what that Seven of Swords energy was in the Self-Care Sunday read and how you can bring justice to yourself. And that Seven of Swords energy that we all have. Denying it doesn't make it go away. Trust me, denying it doesn't make it go away. Gotta face that shit head on, Can't go over it, can't go over it, have to go through it. Okay, so maybe some of you are needing to remember how sacred boundaries are. Your own personal boundaries, not your walls. I'm not talking about those walls we build. I'm talking about healthy boundaries. Boundaries that respect you. Boundaries that respect your needs. It's about you. All right? So remembering your limits, remembering it's okay to say no, and learning the boundaries around saying yes, okay? Because I think that's one that we do need to learn, is those boundaries around saying yes when we should be saying no. All right? Find ourselves saying yes to the wrong things and no to the things we should be saying yes to. Prove me fucking wrong. But yeah, I don't know, just feeling very inspired to do this shadow reading after the self-care reading. There's so many things in this world that block us from joy and happiness. Don't be that for yourself. All right, let's see what comes out. We got one. It's that deception. But as I was talking about in that Self-Care Sunday read, it's sometimes self-deception. It's sometimes not being honest with ourselves. It's sometimes denying ourselves access to the parts of ourselves that can give us the truth about who we are and how we can show up in the world and all of those things, how we are showing up in the world. It's very hard to look in the mirror and say, am I actually showing up the way that I want to be showing up, that my soul needs me to be showing up? And, often there's a lot of self-deception that goes on about what kind of people we are, And I mean, we see that, we're seeing it on the world stage. Let's be real. We're seeing it on the world stage, There's a lot of people that think that they're good people that are supporting genocide. Those people need to have a really honest conversation with themselves. Really, honestly. Let's see what else there is. Maybe there's a bit of self-deception going on about your place in a settler colony, Are you calling yourself an ally, but not really being the accomplice that black fellas need, I Are we calling ourselves an ally as some kind of protective mechanism because what if I'm not a good person? You know? Are you deceiving yourself thinking that, oh, got a little insect on me. Off you go, little friend. Now I've lost my train of thought. But just shuffle, Sim. Just shuffle the damn cards. Oops, we've lost a card. We've lost a few cards. Okay. Soul mirror. This is a really important one. People that you meet are going to reflect back to you healing that you need to do, right? And sometimes it can feel like a bit of a fucking personal attack. Not gonna lie. And look, we're only human. We're only human, so don't judge that feeling of, I'm personally attacked, right? But also, don't run from that information that is being fed back to you from the people that you encounter that are being a mirror to your wounds, okay? So, after you've had your little moment of feeling personally attacked, it's really important that you then sit with yourself. It's so important. And say, okay, I'm feeling this certain way, but it's kind of feeling disproportionate to what has actually transpired here. Okay, why is it feeling disproportionate? And follow those memories. See what wound from your childhood or from ongoing traumatic experiences in adulthood are asking you to hug them, are asking you to show up for them now in a way that you couldn't before. Forgive yourself for not being able to show up for those parts of you the way that those parts of you have needed over your life. Because we don't always have the tools and we don't always have the capacity or the knowledge, right? And when we're children, our caregivers are supposed to protect and nurture us, right? Sometimes we get it, sometimes we don't, sometimes we never get it. But I think if you can walk through life and see that the people that you interact with can be a mirror to your wounding, you can then utilize that for your healing, right? Sometimes the reflection that we're shown scares the fuck out of us and we run from it, right? And again, we're then deceiving ourselves, thinking that we can actually run from ourselves, okay? That the other person isn't the problem. Maybe they've done something that is like a little shit, yeah? But that disproportionate is what you need to remember when a big trauma wound is triggered by something that someone's doing in the now. our response is not always proportionate, okay? We need to own that in order to heal that. You can't heal things that you won't acknowledge, okay? Now, next card, shedding illusions. Being self-aware is what is needed for healing, right? Nobody actually wants to think that they cause harm, that their shadows come out and play with other people's shadows. Sometimes our shadows dance with other people's shadows, and sometimes they go to war with them, right? Shed the illusion that your shadows are not part of that dance, okay? They are. If you've got shadows, they're coming out to play. And sure, the other person's shadows might also be playing. That's the other person's job to own, right? All you can do is be responsible for how your shadows are coming out, okay? But it's about shedding the illusion that you don't have shadows that are interacting with other people's, okay? Doesn't make you a bad person, it makes you a fucking human. Having hope. Navigate your shadows with compassion and gentleness. When you realize your shadows are your inner child acting out, when you realize your shadows are your inner teenager acting out, if you saw your child, your niece, nephew, another child that you know, even a stranger's child, you know, like, you want to comfort children. Well, most of us do. Most of us don't want to blow their limbs off and snipe bullets through their brains, but, you know, most of us want to nurture children. And so remind yourself that there is a child within you, there is a teenager within you that needs that from you, okay? I'm not a big hope person. You've probably heard me say, fuck hope a lot, be sovereign. Thanks, Chelsea. And I don't think it's necessarily hope that you need to have in order to provide compassion and gentleness and reassurance to those inner children, inner teenagers, okay? You need to listen to them. You just need to listen to them, hear what they're saying, and then reassure them that, you know, what happened to create these wounds was not their fault. That they should have had big people that protected them, that loved them. Be for your inner child what you needed your caregivers to be for you. All right? But fuck hope, be sovereign. All right. Bottom of the deck. shadow dance, and I was just talking about how our shadows dance with other people's shadows, you know, like, and they absolutely do. And sometimes it's catastrophic, and sometimes it's heartbreaking, and sometimes it's confusing, and it feels really unfair, you know, especially when those connections are so real and so important and so unexpected, you know. But in observing how our shadows dance with other people's shadows, we can create a dance routine that complements each other, you know, so that we can dance those shadows into healing, not into that Five of Swords, Five of Wands, combative type energy that is no good for anybody, you know. All right, let's get some tarot involved. Today I'm using the Wild Unknown. Bottom of the deck energy is death and rebirth. So, you know, doing all of this work is like having a death and rebirth over and over again, you know. As you heal one part, a new part of you is born and an old part of you dies. And it's like this cycle that keeps moving. Like, healing is a lifelong process, and I think each time you level up, you discover new parts of yourself that you need to learn about, right? It's continuous. So don't be afraid of the death and rebirth, all right? We've got the Lovers. This could be, you know, leading to rebirth of connections. It could be leading to rebirth of having new opportunities and choices to make, and that are heart-centered and ground you in stability and because I think some of us are feeling like regrets and disappointment and like sadness at how some of our connections have gone over time because of how our trauma shows up. So, and I include myself in that, you know. There are some connections that I feel really sad about still. Anyway. Daughter of Cups was just on that split, which is interesting because Page of Cups came out in the self-care read this morning. So, you know, again, it's especially in this read, I see it as that inner child wounding, that inner teenager wounding, the shadows that they create, the gifts that they hide, you know. What tarot advice can we give for the collective with, you know, working with the shadows, working with when stuff is mirrored back to them? All right, we've got a card flying out here, and it is the Eight of Pentacles. So just keep working at it, right? Just keep building those strong foundations and keeping one foot on the ground, grounded energy, but also allowing your heart space to do some of the movement as well. Eights, again, are the number of death and rebirth, all right? So, you know, it's about these foundations that you've been building, continuing to build on those healed and integrated foundations, building on those, instead of putting your effort into building on the unstable foundations of the past, right? And the Mother of Swords reminds us about boundaries, about, you know, cutting through those illusions and being honest with yourself and setting boundaries that are healthy and good for you. Again, she's come out, so she clearly wanted to be seen, the Mother of Swords. So when those people mirror back to you wounds within yourself that you need to work on, sometimes you'll be, you know, it could be you mirroring to other people the wounds that they need to work on. And people will push back. Know that people that aren't ready to hear those things about themselves will push back. This is where you need to keep your boundaries, to know your worth, to know your shadows, to know how they dance with other people, and to have that understanding that, you know, your shadow isn't out there dancing alone with another traumatized person. Their shadows are showing up too, you know. As much as they may not want to think their shadows show up, they do. All right, what else do we need to know? The other message I'm getting from that Eight of Pentacles, the spider. Spider is seen as like that divine nurturing type energy as well. And so, and being that the Empress is an earth card, and Pentacles are earth energy, you know, as you're building onto these strong foundations, remember to be tapping into that nurturing rebirth, birthing new and healthier, and stay rooted in that type of energy. Okay, and then we've got the Seven of Wands. And with the Seven of Wands, what I like about this card is that it has, you've got that one flame in the middle, and it's reminder of that flame burning in the Ace of Wands, you know, that inspiration. And being that it's come out under the shedding illusions, which says the first step is awareness, consider this your awareness, right? Consider this your awareness. And then consider these wands to be the ones that you are shining the light down on, to be aware of. That this energy, this fire energy, is directed in the right places, that you're not directing it in the wrong places, and so shedding that illusion. But yeah, remembering to keep this flame healthy, burning, you know, while you work through all of this. Because Seven of Swords was on the bottom of the deck, so you're going to have some of those illusions coming in. You're going to have the ego, the subconscious, all coming in to try and derail the work that you're doing, because the ego wants to protect itself from admitting it was wrong, admitting that it's not doing things like in a healthy way, admitting that there's things that need changing. And part of healing is healing that unhealthy ego into an ego that works for your highest good. What about for having hope? What's some advice for that one, Spirit? The Seven of Cups. All right, so the imagery in this card, we've got one cup upside down. It's tipping out the contents, right? You got 6 cups upright. So the 6 of Cups is reminiscing. It's past life. It's soulmates. It's childhood memories. It's lots of things, right? But I'm going to run with the childhood memories. And then we've got the moon up in the darkness, and we've got the sun down in the light, right? And they're both working in unison with each other to balance the energies. You've got that founder, root, stability type energy with the sun. And then you've got that nurturing, fertile, sensual type energy with the moon. The moon also is representative of things that are hidden from you, and the sun is representative of shining a light and bringing clarity to things. So remembering to balance these two energies, to bring light to these childhood memories, childhood wounding. So that we can flip the 7 upside down and the sun is shining into this cup, filling your cup, filling your cup, filling it, all right? But sometimes the 7 of Cups can represent confusion. So you've got these choices that are, you know, swirling around, giving you like this emotional energy in your body. And sometimes it can be hidden from you what's creating this, and sometimes the sun shines a light on it. All right, but it's always about moving through and navigating with that compassion and gentleness and love that you always needed when you were a smaller person. All right. Anyway, I hope that kind of unpacked a little bit more from the Self-Care Sunday read. And thank you for joining me again today. And I will talk to you soon.